Hello learners, this is Shawn from the Kindercare Education team with you again. Today we're going to do another science experiment, this time exploring the concept of flight and how we can build things to test the ability to fly far or fast with two different types of airplanes. When you're looking at flight, it is all about the ability to hold your weight in the air for a prolonged period of time. Modern planes use engines and propulsion to help with that process and the movement. But what we're going to make is a plane that doesn't use propulsion or an engine. This is going to be something that the method of propulsion is going to be our ability to throw the airplane. And we're going to compare two different types. And we're also going to test and see how does building the two types in different ways impact the ability to fly. So it's going to be a lot of experimentation on your part. If you have space in your house, in your living room, or in a hallway, to kind of test how far distance is or how fast things are going, you're going to be able to adjust these airplanes multiple ways and see how the different ways they're built help with that flight process. For today's activity, there's a couple different options you can use. I'm going to show you the supplies I have, but as with every activity we do, you can always look to adjust supplies as necessary. So the supplies I have just some scissors. You can want some child-safe scissors. For my hand size, I'm going to use some adult scissors. You're going to want to have index cards or thicker cardboard paper or pieces of cardboard, something that's a little bit more heavy, but you don't want it too much weight. So you want it something fairly thin, but it's more sturdy than a normal printer paper. If you don't have index cards, you can always tape pieces of paper together to make them a little bit thicker so they don't bend and fold in the flight. You're also going to want to have some type of tape or adhesive. Tape is going to be easier than glue, but you can use masking tape. You can get a parent to help you with some duct tape. You can use regular Scotch tape. If you only have glue, then get a parent to help you with glue it on. You're going to want some type of straight, lightweight stick. So this is going to be the main body of our airplane. So I'm going to be using the straw. I only have some bendy straws. I want to try to keep that straight. I could always cut it off if I wanted to, but I want to test the longer body. But you want to make sure it's lightweight. So just a regular stick outside, you want to check and make sure it's fairly straight and lightweight. If it's really heavy, then it's going to pull the airplane down. Same as if you have reusable straws. If they're metal, that's going to be really heavy. But it also could just be like a chopstick or just anything along those lines. I'm going to use a pin just to kind of show you some of the markings, but you won't need a pin or a pencil for the activity. And then you're going to want some just regular scratch paper. So I just have an extra piece of colored paper here. You can choose paper from previous activities, other paper that you're going to recycle. It doesn't really matter, just some extra paper. So we're going to build two types of airplanes. And for our first airplane, we're going to build the traditional standard airplane. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your paper, and we want to make sure that we have an even line down the middle. So from our paper, we're going to have an even line. Easiest way to do this, just to make sure you get it right, is if you take your paper and you fold it in half. Whenever I was in the classroom, this would be called hot dog style. So it looks like it's a big hot dog bun. A hot dog can go right in the middle of it. So I'm going to fold it right in half. So we have a straight line, just goes right down the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that is going to be the two sides of our airplane. The two sides right here. And then you're going to want to take a top corner and bring that corner into that line, that crease we made in the middle. And we're going to fold here. Bring the other corner in. Bring it to meet in that crease in the middle. We're going to fold here. And so now we have the base point, the front of our airplane, right up in the side. I typically will then take my airplane and fold it back over. I find that the better the creases are, the more they'll throw in a more efficient way. In case you can't tell, I do enjoy folding airplanes. And then I'm going to fold the sides down to be even with the bottom. So this is our base model paper airplane. I'm going to fold it here. This is the front of the paper airplane. So there's going to be a couple different ways you can adjust and modify it. And I want you to test these and throw it. Normally it's easiest if you hold it at the very front of the airplane when you throw it. And you want to throw it, try to keep your wrist straight. So a couple different ways that we're going to be able to do it is if you have paper clips or anything that's a little bit heavy but not too much that you can attach to the nose, we can test and throw it without doing anything. Put some weight on the nose and then throw and see what it does. But then also, what we can look at doing is what happens when we make our wings smaller before we fold them. So I have this right here. I'm going to take this new corner and bring that corner in again to the crease. And I'm going to take this new corner and bring that in again to the crease. Now we have our folded airplane. If you notice, our wings are a lot more narrow. What you need with airplanes is you need to have a surface that can push against the wind, and this is what keeps it in the air. But you want to have something called aerodynamic. And aerodynamic is just using the term of air to get around it. All right, aerodynamic, you want air to easily go over and around the shape. So the wider and bulkier the shape, the more the air pushes against it and doesn't want to let it go forward. Okay, so that's another way that we can adjust this airplane. I want you to explore other ways that we can bring our wings in. We can adjust how our wings fold. We could add other angles to our wings and test your flights in different ways and share with us and let us know how those flights work for you with the hashtag KinderCare. So this is one airplane, and I want to build another airplane to compare against this airplane. This airplane's going to be a little bit more different, one you might not have seen before. So we just used one piece of paper and we made our airplane. For our other one, we are going to use our index cards and our straw and our tape. And we only really need one index card per airplane. I have a couple extra here in case I make a mistake. But we're going to take this index card and we're going to cut it to 3 relatively even shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty close. I'm going to take this index card and cut it into 3 pieces. We are going to combine the 2 and 3 index card, and we're going to leave the 1 index card separate. So this is where the tape or glue is going to come in at this spot and one other time in the activity. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape. I'm going to tape together these index cards. Don't have to be all the way sealed up, just enough to hold them in place. I'm going to bring it all together. Notice how it doesn't all the way line up perfect, but that's okay. Then I cut it all the way the same sizes because it doesn't have to be exactly the exact same. And then I'm going to take the number 1 piece and I'm going to make a smaller circle. And these rings are going to be our wings for the flight. So if we notice, there's 2 different shapes. What we're going to do is now we're going to take the small ring, and this is going to be the front wing for our airplane. You take another little piece of tape here. I'm going to slide the straw into that first ring, and then I'm going to tape it down. Now I have 1 wing on my straw. So this is part of my airplane. Then I want to take the next ring and I'm going to tape it in the very back. And where we tape these is how we're going to explore and experiment with our different airplane builds. All right. So now I have my second airplane. And does this look like a normal airplane? Not so much, right? We have this airplane and this airplane. But what you're going to find is this airplane, when you really throw it, it can fly pretty far because you're going to have these rings pushing the air over, and outside of the stick, there's really not much wind resistance. So as long as you throw it pretty well, these might act like parachutes to hold it in the air as it drifts to where you want it to go. My challenge to you is going to be experimenting with both airplanes. So experiment folding this airplane in different directions, throw it a couple times. Every time I fold it differently, I want to throw it 2 or 3 times to see how it works before I fold it differently another time. And then I also want to take this one and I want to move these circles forwards, backwards on this airplane and see what that does to the distance that this airplane. Thanks for coming to hang out. And as always, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be posting new content every week. And anything you do at home, whether it's our content or other learning, we'd love to see it so you'll see the learning still happening. Just use the hashtag KinderCare so we can see all the activities happening at home. Thank you.